Have you ever noticed how some waiting lists seem to open and close without warning? Whether it's for a popular restaurant, a new tech gadget, or a sought-after apartment, these sudden changes can be confusing and even frustrating. In this video, we'll explore the reasons behind these unpredictable openings and closings. We'll break down the factors that influence waiting list management, and by the end, you'll have a clearer understanding of what's really going on behind the scenes. Let's start by looking at what a waiting list actually is and why organizations use them in the first place. A waiting list is essentially a queue of people who want access to a limited resource. This could be anything from a table at a busy restaurant to a spot in a popular online course. When demand exceeds supply, organizations use waiting lists to manage expectations and keep things organized. The list helps ensure that people are served in a fair and orderly manner. But as simple as it sounds, the management of these lists can be quite complex, especially when demand fluctuates or resources become available unexpectedly. Organizations use waiting lists for several reasons. First, they help manage high demand by keeping track of interested customers. Second, they provide a sense of order and fairness, so people feel they have a chance to get what they want. Third, waiting lists can help businesses gauge interest in their products or services. By monitoring the length of the list, companies can make decisions about expanding capacity or launching new offerings. But with all these benefits, why do waiting lists sometimes open and close so suddenly? One of the main reasons waiting lists open and close suddenly is the balance between supply and demand. When more spots become available, maybe someone cancels, or the business increases capacity, the list may open up to new people. Conversely, if demand spikes or resources become scarce, the list might close quickly to prevent overwhelming the system. This constant balancing act means that waiting lists are often in flux, responding to real-time changes in availability and interest. Capacity management is a key factor in how waiting lists are handled. Organizations must constantly assess how many people or items they can accommodate. If they suddenly have more capacity, say a restaurant adds more tables or an online course increases its enrollment limit, the waiting list may open. On the other hand, if they reach their maximum capacity, the list closes to avoid overpromising. This dynamic process is often invisible to those on the outside, leading to the perception of sudden changes. Cancellations and no-shows play a big role in the sudden opening of waiting lists. When someone cancels their reservation or fails to show up, a spot becomes available. Organizations often reopen the list briefly to fill these gaps. This can happen at any time, making the process seem unpredictable. For those waiting, it's important to know that these openings are often the result of last-minute changes rather than a planned schedule. Many organizations now use automated systems to manage their waiting lists. These systems can instantly open or close lists based on real-time data, such as cancellations, capacity changes, or spikes in demand. Automation helps businesses respond quickly, but it also means that waiting lists can change status at any moment. For customers, this can feel sudden, but it's actually a sign of efficient management behind the scenes. Not all waiting lists operate on a simple first-come, first-served basis. Some organizations prioritize certain customers based on loyalty, membership status, or other criteria. When these priorities shift, the waiting list may open or close to different groups at different times. This selective access can make the process seem even more unpredictable to those who aren't aware of the underlying rules. Some waiting lists are managed in batches rather than in real time. For example, a university might process applications in groups at set intervals. When a batch is processed, the list may close temporarily, only to reopen once the next round begins. This approach helps organizations manage large volumes efficiently, but it can lead to sudden changes in list status that catch people off guard. Sometimes, waiting lists open or close suddenly due to changes in regulations or company policies. For instance, a new law might require a business to limit the number of people it serves, forcing the list to close. Alternatively, a policy change could allow more people to join, opening the list unexpectedly. These external factors are often beyond the control of both the organization and those waiting. Technical glitches can also cause waiting lists to open or close unexpectedly. A system outage, software bug, or even a simple human error can change the status of a list without warning. While these incidents are usually resolved quickly, they can create confusion for those trying to join or monitor the list. Sometimes, the status of a waiting list changes before the information is communicated to everyone involved. This delay can make it seem like the list opened or closed suddenly, when in reality, the change happened earlier. Organizations strive to keep communication timely, but delays can still occur, especially with large groups or complex systems. Demand for certain resources can spike during specific seasons or events. For example, holiday reservations, concert tickets, or product launches often see sudden surges in interest. Organizations may open or close waiting lists in response to these predictable but temporary increases in demand, leading to abrupt changes in availability. Organizations often use different strategies to allocate limited resources. Some may reserve spots for VIPs, while others use lotteries or random selection. These strategies can cause waiting lists to open or close at unexpected times, depending on how resources are distributed. Understanding these allocation methods can help explain why lists don't always operate on a simple schedule. Scarcity can make waiting lists even more volatile. When resources are extremely limited, organizations may close lists quickly to avoid disappointing too many people. Conversely, if scarcity eases, they might open the list for a short window. This creates a sense of urgency and can lead to sudden changes in list status. Transparency in how waiting lists are managed can greatly affect customer experience. When organizations clearly communicate their policies and reasons for opening or closing lists, customers are less likely to feel frustrated by sudden changes. However, not all organizations are equally transparent, which can lead to confusion and dissatisfaction. Let's look at a real-world example. Restaurant reservations. Popular restaurants often use waiting lists to manage demand. If a large group cancels or a table becomes available, the list may open briefly. Conversely, during peak hours, the list might close quickly as seats fill up. This constant adjustment is necessary to balance customer flow and maximize efficiency. During a major product launch, companies often use waiting lists to manage overwhelming demand. As inventory becomes available, the list opens to new customers. If stock runs out, the list closes until the next shipment arrives. This cycle can repeat several times, making the process seem unpredictable to those waiting for their chance to buy. Housing applications are another area where waiting lists open and close suddenly. When new units become available, the list opens for applications. Once all spots are filled, it closes again. Changes in housing policy, funding, or construction schedules can also trigger sudden shifts in list status, affecting hopeful applicants. Online courses often use waiting lists when classes fill up quickly. If an instructor adds more seats or a student drops out, the list may open for a short time. Conversely, if demand is too high, the list closes to prevent over-enrollment. This flexible approach helps maintain quality while accommodating as many students as possible. Medical offices frequently use waiting lists to fill last-minute appointment slots. If a patient cancels, the list opens for others to book. During flu season or emergencies, the list may close quickly as demand surges. This system helps ensure that no appointment goes unused, but it also means that availability can change rapidly. Childcare centers often have long waiting lists due to limited spots. When a child graduates or leaves, the list opens for new families. If regulations change or staff availability shifts, the list may close unexpectedly. Parents must stay alert for these sudden opportunities, as spots can fill quickly. Fitness studios use waiting lists to manage class sizes. If someone cancels, the list opens for another member. During popular times, the list may close quickly as classes fill up. This approach helps studios maximize attendance while maintaining a safe and enjoyable environment for participants. Concerts and events often use waiting lists for ticket sales. When tickets are released or returned, the list opens for eager fans. If demand exceeds supply, the list closes quickly. This system helps ensure that tickets go to those who are ready and waiting, but it also means that opportunities can appear and disappear in an instant. Subscription services, like meal kits or streaming platforms, sometimes use waiting lists when launching new features or expanding to new regions. As capacity grows, the list opens to more users. If demand outpaces supply, the list closes until more resources are available. This helps companies manage growth while maintaining service quality. Transportation services, such as ride-sharing or car rentals, may use waiting lists during peak times or special events. When more vehicles become available, the list opens. If demand spikes, the list closes to prevent long waits. This flexible system helps balance supply and demand in real time. Government services, like passport, renewals, or public housing, often use waiting lists to manage limited resources. Policy changes, funding adjustments, or new program launches can cause lists to open or close suddenly. Citizens must stay informed to take advantage of these opportunities as they arise. Universities use waiting lists to fill spots in popular programs. If accepted students decline offers, the list opens for others. When all spots are filled, the list closes. This process can happen multiple times during the admissions cycle, making it unpredictable for applicants. Exclusive clubs often have waiting lists for new members. When a member leaves or the club expands, the list opens. If the club reaches its limit, the list closes again. This exclusivity adds to the appeal, but also means that opportunities can be rare and short-lived. Volunteer organizations may use waiting lists when opportunities are limited. As new projects arise or volunteers drop out, the list opens. If all positions are filled, the list closes. This ensures that every volunteer has a meaningful role and that projects are adequately staffed. Community events, like festivals or workshops, often use waiting lists to manage attendance. If more spots become available or someone cancels, the list opens. When capacity is reached, it closes. This helps organizers ensure a safe and enjoyable experience for everyone involved. Travel companies use waiting lists for popular destinations or limited time offers. If more seats or rooms become available, the list opens. If demand is too high, it closes quickly. This system helps companies maximize bookings while managing customer expectations. Tech companies often use waiting lists for beta testing new products. As more spots become available, the list opens to additional testers. If the program reaches capacity, the list closes. This helps companies gather feedback while controlling the scale of their tests. When companies release limited edition products, waiting lists help manage the rush. As inventory is released, the list opens. Once items are sold out, the list closes. This creates excitement and urgency, but also means that opportunities can disappear quickly. Lawyers, consultants, and other professionals may use waiting lists when their schedules are full. If a client cancels or more time becomes available, the list opens. When fully booked, it closes. This helps professionals manage their workload and serve clients efficiently. Animal shelters use waiting lists for pet adoptions, especially for popular breeds. When a pet becomes available, the list opens. Once adopted, the list closes for that animal. This ensures a fair process and helps match pets with loving homes. Art galleries and museums may use waiting lists for special exhibitions. If more tickets or time slots become available, the list opens. When capacity is reached, it closes. This helps manage crowds and ensures a quality experience for visitors. Youth and adult sports leagues use waiting lists when teams are full. If a player drops out or a new team forms, the list opens. When all spots are filled, it closes. This system helps leagues stay organized and ensures everyone gets a fair chance to participate. Educational workshops and seminars often use waiting lists to manage attendance. If someone cancels or more seats are added, the list opens. When full, it closes. This ensures that every seat is filled and that participants have the best possible experience. Businesses may use waiting lists for limited time offers or flash sales. As offers become available, the list opens. Once the offer ends or supplies run out, it closes. This creates excitement and encourages quick action from customers. Luxury brands and exclusive experiences, like private tours or VIP events, often use waiting lists to manage access. When a spot opens, the list is activated. Once filled, it closes. This exclusivity adds to the allure, but also means that opportunities are rare and fleeting. Community programs, such as after-school activities or senior services, use waiting lists to manage limited spots. When funding or staffing increases, the list opens. If resources are cut, it closes. This helps ensure that programs are sustainable and serve as many people as possible. Researchers use waiting lists to recruit participants for studies. As more spots open or criteria change, the list opens. When enough participants are enrolled, it closes. This ensures that studies are properly staffed and that data collection is efficient. In rare cases, emergency services may use waiting lists during disasters or crises. As resources become available, the list opens to those in need. When capacity is reached, it closes. This helps prioritize aid and ensures that help is distributed as fairly as possible. As we've seen, waiting lists open and close suddenly for a variety of reasons, ranging from supply and demand, cancellations, and automation, to policy changes and technical issues. Each organization has its own methods and challenges, but the goal is always to manage limited resources as fairly and efficiently as possible. By understanding the factors at play, you can better navigate waiting lists and take advantage of opportunities when they arise. Thanks for watching, and remember, behind every waiting list, there's a complex system working to balance everyone's needs.